Hey everybody, welcome to my next Quad Cortex video. Thanks to everybody that's watched the previous videos. I did a little vlog last week and that was about some gigs, and I'll be doing a little bit more of that as we have more gigs coming up that are a little bit exciting, playing at festivals and that kind of stuff. So we'll see how they go. But thanks for joining this video. In this video, I want to explore the sort of flexibility and the tonal sort of I guess it's more of like an experiment to see if the Quad Cortex can actually replicate some of the sounds that some of our favorite artists have created, and so I figured that we'd get started on that. Now, I am no expert in crafting and creating tone. I just play guitar. I'm not a very good guitarist, but I've been toying around with this, and you know, I read a bunch of stuff online, and so basically what I end up doing is, rather than playing guitar, I go online and, you know, how to get good at guitar, how to get good tone, and then basically kind of listening to songs, and I'm like, okay, how do I sound like that? So one of my favorite artists for most of my life, I'm like in my early 30s, is like Blink-182, and I grew up in that kind of era when they were big with Enema of the State and Take Off Your Pants and Jacket and Dude Ranch and all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, they're some of my favorite albums. I see a lot of people, at least 5, ask online like how to get the Tom DeLonge tone. And so I've been doing a bit of research, and yeah, there's no, like, you know, I've even watched the videos that Tom has put out, and yeah, it seems like it's accessible with the Quad Cortex.
Where are you?
So there is loads of different inputs and that kind of stuff, but I saw one particular comment on Reddit that basically, using a digital system called AmpHub, this guy managed to create this tone. Now, I don't have AmpHub, I've never tried it, but he listed off some equipment which I had seen in other forums and that kind of stuff that apparently Tom had used. So it was basically a Mesa Boogie dual rectifier, a Marshall JCM 800, which was clean, and then running into some Mesa cabs, and yeah, adding in a couple of effects and a bit of tweaking and a bit of reverb and that kind of stuff, and basically you've got the tone. So that post said, so I'm going to keep that guy anonymous because, you know, I don't want to do anything. I mean, you know, obviously if this is successful and you guys think, oh yeah, this nailed it, then I will message him and say, like, you know, do more stuff. But basically, yeah, it was like, oh, I have a Seymour Duncan Invader pickup in a guitar, and well, I kind of was like, well, I don't have one of those, but I do have a Strat shape guitar with a humbucker at the bridge, which is Tom was known for using at this era of his career. You know, I don't have a Marshall JCM 800. I don't have the Mesa Boogie dual rectifier, but the Quad Cortex does, and it has all the other stuff too. So I figured I would give it a try. To sort of craft it though, I felt like it needed a name. So, you know, I was kind of like, toying with the idea of like, is it Enema of the Tone, Tonema of the State, or Tone Off Your Pants and Jacket? I even like listened to some of their live stuff, so then was like, oh, is it the Mark Tone and Travis show? And they all sounded really bad, but instead what I landed on was Toan DeLonge. And so I will share this on the Quad Cortex cloud, and so feel free to just download it and give it a try, give me your feedback, see what you think, and you can adjust it to however you want once you've downloaded it. So yeah, give it a look. The tone itself. So to talk through the actual setup, with 2 amps in the Quad Cortex, what you kind of need to do is have them within the same line, ideally. If you have them in 2 lines and you mute one line, what we're going to do in this, like what we're going to do here, what you do is you get a clean tone that kind of comes through. Now that can be pretty cool actually for certain tones, I found that worked really well for stuff like What's My Age Again, actually. But to get this kind of going, and we want like a sort of crunchy kind of tone with a bit of gain, not too much gain, no. And then we want a slightly cleaner tone, and then we want a really clean tone. And so that's what I've got here. So to sort of showcase what we have, the first block, we just have an adaptive gate. If I was to take that off, you could hear some hiss, but we've taken that out. And then in this scene, so I've created scenes for each of them. In this scene, what I have is an EQ at the front, but on another scene, which is set exactly the same, you can kind of take that away, and you'll be able to hear that difference when I'm playing. The next sort of effect what I have is a flange, and basically I've got it set up that it's just a very light flange, and the only reason I put that in is because on What's My Age Again, and on some of the cleaner parts, it feels like it has this kind of flange effect. It could be a phaser, but it's just something that I kind of hear. It kind of moves a little bit, and I figured I'd put it in, and you know, it kind of works. A compressor that's just set on the most basic setting. So this is the legendary 87 effect, compressor effect. I just kind of left it as it is. And then what we have is the 2 amps. Now, just like the guy on Reddit said, we have a Brit 2203, which I found out is the Marshall JCM 800. And I found that out through a Facebook group that I'm in called the Neural DSP Quad Cortex Official User Group. And there's plenty of people on there, but there was a guy in particular that went through and he listed every single amp and pedal and basically what it was meant to be. And so this is the JCM 800. So this is the settings for scene A, and then when you go through the settings through the different scenes, it changes. Scene A and E are sort of similar, but yeah, the main difference I think comes from the EQ beforehand. So on scene A, that's how we got it set up. That runs into the Mesa, or what Quad Cortex calls it, the 412CA stand OSS V30 90s. So I just took, there's a couple of V30 Mesa Boogie speaker systems built within the Quad Cortex. I just took this one, so it's in that. The second amp is the CA Duo Channel 3 Modern, and that is based on the Mesa Boogie dual rectifier. And so this is scene A. We have scene B where it's actually off because this is our clean channel, same thing with scene C. And then we have scene E where you'll see that A and E are somewhat similar, just slightly different. So yeah, that then also runs into the same cab setup. And then what I also have is a room reverb. This also is affected by the scenes. So on scene A, it's like this, scene B, it's like this, scene C, it's like this, and scene E, like that. So they're the ones that I've set up at the moment. I haven't named the scenes, but I'll do that anyway. So what I figured we should do is start off with the clean. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the clean. Now this one has the modulation actually on it, but I figured this worked really well with songs like What's My Age Again. It also works really well for the solo at that point. And that's where I really noticed the modulation effect actually in that song. If I flick it over to scene B, what I can do is I can turn this off. And it's a little bit crunchier. Maybe you guys will prefer this for What's My Age Again. It's a bit brighter and a bit louder too. Not just for What's My Age Again, stuff like Anthem, Part 2. So it's kind of similar to Scene C, just Scene C I would say just it's just a bit cleaner. This works really well again for stuff like Stay Together for the Kids. Sweet. I mean, what I feel like we should do is create a new scene. So if I go onto scene G, let's turn these off. And let's flick that off. Now we got it. Actually, what I'll do is I'll copy scene C onto scene G, and then what we can do is turn off the modulation for scene G. And now we've got a super clean sound, which is really good for the Stay Together for the Kids. And also a couple of other riff stuff like First Aid. Yeah, so we've got our like super clean with modulation on scene B, where it's a bit crunchier. This could be really good for stuff like rock show. The little lead part that's over the top. But what I think I should do with this is actually add in a bit of the mesa and make it a bit more gainy and a bit more full, and in that way it'll sound really good for those like rhythm parts that are not as heavy as some of the stuff that I have for A. So this one here is for the stuff that you see in like small things. And a couple of other like songs. With E, they're slightly different, and I've taken away the EQ. Now the EQ was just tightening up that low end. So this one's a bit different, but this is pretty good for like choruses in say What's My Age Again. And then you can move to your chorus, or the solo I should say. This E in particular is pretty good for the second verse of What's My Age Again. Whereas A, I think is pretty good for like some of the sort of heavier, punchier lead parts. So you almost have like a lead in A sort of rhythm in E, and yeah, that's quite a few of the different tones. One of my favorite ones is in Online Songs, which is on Take Off Your Pants Jacket, and you have the sort of bass line at the start, and then you have like quite a very clean but guitar riff, but then this new riff comes in where it's kind of, and I've taken this by ear, so but it's kind of like and I tried to get it as punchy as I could for that tone. Should do is copy scene C, scene B, and put it on F, and then with F. Let's turn these on. So this compared to B. So what we should do is just turn this down a little bit. So I'm just going to turn the gain down. Let's go down to 3. Maybe actually let's go up a little bit to 4. Cool. So now we have, and I'm just going to save that too. So now we have our super clean. Then we have a bit of modulation. Then we have our like just for take one song for example, but yeah, if we were to do, say, What's My Age Again, we got our intro, and then we've got our solo. Whilst also having a little bit less, which is good for like I believe it's roller coaster or which is pretty cool. E, or maybe even F actually. Some slight difference between E and F. This could be good for I think the lead is actually good for this. Cool. So I'm now just going to save all this and I'm going to name them. So I'm going to go up into gig view. We're going to call this clean. Oh, can't spell today. Clean. And then we've got our slight crunch. We have more gain. Like a rhythm. And then we have tight gain. Cool. So, solo for super clean. Some slight crunch. This could work well for but I think actually that part's from First Date, but I think, you know, it works well for What's My Age Again. You can turn down your volume just a little bit to get that sort of live recording. To get that recorded, but when they play live, I believe they play it up here. And that sounds pretty good. So back up to 10, it sounds a bit like this. Punchier kind of game. And that's the difference. See, it has a little bit less gain on A than it does on E. And so that's my Tom DeLonge Toan exploration, with thanks to anonymous dude on Reddit to try and find this. So this is all on the cloud. You just search for Toan DeLonge, and yeah, you can download it, have a play around with it, play along with your favorite Blink songs, and yeah, give me some feedback. So if you did like this video, please remember to like and subscribe to my channel, where you'll see more Quad Cortex content. That's quite hard to say very quickly. But also from now on, I'll be doing a bunch of stuff like this. If you guys are interested in it, feel free to find stuff online and send it to me in the comment section, and like with links to what people have said it is, and how they achieve that tone, and I will give it a try through the Quad Cortex to create these kind of settings. And then yeah, you'll be able to find some, hopefully get some answers to your questions as to whether that is the equipment, and whether we can actually recreate those tones within the Quad Cortex itself. On the Quad Cortex cloud, there is actually already some Blink-182 sort of style like presets and that kind of stuff. One preset I would really like to give a shout out to is created by Soundwaves PR, and they created a Damn It preset, which is really good for the Dude Ranch era of Blink-182. So I've got it up on the screen right now, and it sounds a bit like this. That's really, really close. Preset is really good for that Dude Ranch kind of era of Blink-182. Okay, so there's my video, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you liked, please like and subscribe, leave some comments, and yeah, I'll get back to every comment, and yeah, have fun playing around if you guys decide to download it. You want me to do any more stuff, just leave a comment, and like I said, let me know what kind of tones and stuff you're interested in, and I'll see if this thing can recreate it. Thanks.